Okay. I don't see where my dog is very sick. Oh. On that side. It's not, so the emergency surgery is on that side of town.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, results good. You should know those people today. At 6:30, I'm going to start the webinar.
Well, it's going to be very tight today. Gladys? Hello. Hey, what's uh-huh. Um,
Folks on Zoom, we're still waiting for a quorum. We're not there yet. Wait, I like the enthusiasm for quorum. No, we don't count towards a quorum. Well, agree fast track, you would both agree, but you would also agree on the gambling one? You good on that?
Mhm.
All right, they email them tomorrow.
just saw CB13.
11.
Oh, that's for the
13, I think is gonna go against it because it's in there for it. Not handle that.
seriously?
Yeah. But it's citywide initiative, so anybody could vote.
That's actually really funny. neighbor, it's not in our district, so we'll prove it, but.
It could have a big effect on ours down the road though. I'm sorry? Plenty of them. Ever been to Atlantic City?
Yep.
Sure do. And
Oh.
I mean, sometimes they can be done right, and sometimes they can be done wrong. I have no confidence in New York State.
Amen.
They had volunteers for that. And wait, so you're saying the governor somehow gets people to shovel snow at the Bill Stadium?
I thought it's really fun.
Oh, it's being recorded. I'm sorry?
Outside where the stadium is, there's no one telling them. You get both of them.
Yeah, they're protecting their $1 billion investment.
Yeah. And then it was sure. Only black people.
Too early.
Yeah, stay warm, right? Like, that's my
Right, that would have been a smart move, and I'm inexperienced. There's the way that- Devin,
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one.
you may have the benefit of getting out of here earlier than you thought tonight. Of course, that is going to lead to another meeting.
Either a special meeting or something up in February. What
Okay?
is on the line? I think once my entire work career.
Do that since I've been here.
So I may have to.
Well, I'm counting.
Doing something on
Folks on Zoom, we're still trying to get a quorum. And nobody will. Yeah, because people don't move their cars with this weather.
No.
No, I must have. We have 5 minutes. 23. 19.
Just about to say that. I mean, couple more minutes and then doing what we can and then adjourning. Good evening, everyone. I know it is 6:45. We are still waiting for a quorum to officially begin our meeting. Just gonna hold off for another minute before we make any moves. So thank you for your patience. I know it is a very cold night out tonight. Speak on to him.
Yeah. 20. You get it, it's just, the meeting goes later. Thankfully, we have heat tonight. It was, we had none yesterday, and it didn't go on until about 10:30 or 11 today. We closed this room, got it nice and warm. We were worried when we opened the doors it was all gonna rush out, but thankfully it was all right.
You got good body heat going on too.
Yeah. Well, people on that side make things.
Agenda. So I like to go to town on my agenda. I write like crazy notes. Oh my goodness, I only had one committee report. Yeah. Okay, good evening, everyone. We still have not reached a quorum. But in the interest of time, we're going to do some discussion on items that do not require a quorum. Just in the interest of parliamentary procedure, I'm going to ask Jeremy to call the roll to officially establish that we do not have a quorum, and then we'll take it from there.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. We're going to call roll now. If you are joining us on Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. Also, if you're joining us on Zoom, you do not count towards the quorum. So let's start with Amel Afzal.
Here.
Thank you, Amel. You do not count towards the quorum. Grisel Amador. Thank you. Damian Andrade. Joan Body.
Here.
Thank you, Joan. You do not count towards the quorum. Gladys Bruno.
Here. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. You do not count towards the quorum, Gladys. Jerry Chan. Thank you. Esteban Chavez. Thank you. Richard Kodor. Christina Das. John DeLuper. Thank you. Beatrice DeSapio. Rubino Morales Escamilla. Thank you. Cynthia Felix. John Fontillis. Thank you. Kin Fung. Cynthia Gonzalez. Again, folks, if you were joining us on Zoom,
Present.
thank you.
Jeremy, this is King Kong. Present.
Cynthia Felix present.
Thank you. None of you qualify towards the quorum, but I appreciate it. Let's move on. Diana Gonzalez. Thank you. Hector Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you. Hector, you don't count towards the quorum. Kenny Guan. Nicole Huang. Nicholas Jackson. Thank you. John Johnston. Jeremy Kaplan. Thank you. Beverly Kleinman.
Present.
Thank you. Beverly, you do not count towards the quorum. Wyco. Thank you. Barbara Lee. Thank you. Christina Lem. Angie Lau. Paul Mack.
I'm here.
Thank you. Paul, you do not count towards the quorum. Antoinette Martinez. Marilyn Melman. Marilyn, I could see you. I'm acknowledging you. You do not count towards the quorum. Rosie Moda. Thank you. Jamie Nelson. Thank you. Julio Pena III.
Here.
Thank you. Karen Rolnick. Thank you. Joanna Romero.
Here.
Thank you. Joanna, you do not count towards the quorum. Patricia Ruiz.
Here.
Thank you. Pat, you do not count towards the quorum. Tamara Santiago. Sam Sierra.
Sort of present.
Thank you. Sam, you do not count towards the quorum. Ryan Smith. Thank you. Kalina Sorma. Thank you. Victor Swinton. Cindy Vandenbosch.
Present.
Thank you. Catherine Walsh. Thank you. Cesar Zuniga. Thank you. We have 20 present. We need 23 for a quorum. We do not have one as of yet.
So in the absence of a quorum, the only official act is to, three options. To adjourn the meeting, to recess the meeting into another day and time. So, or actually it's just two options. So I wanted to do a show of hands from board members present. If you would like to adjourn the meeting, and then we figure out later for the next monthly meeting how to move forward. It's one option. The second option is to recess, meaning to hold the meeting and then schedule a special meeting in the coming weeks to proceed forward. So those are the two options. If you are in favor of adjourning the meeting until February, please raise your hand. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. There is discussion. So those are the two options. Any discussion on those two options? Jeremy and then Diana. Microphone.
Meeting hasn't started. You don't have to have discussion, or you can have discussion forever.
I have a question more. I think John could actually answer this, but in reference to the city of Yes, and when we have to make a decision, if we delay it, what happens to, when do we have to submit sort of our comments and everything?
John Funtelis here. My understanding is that the City Planning Commission is the next entity that takes it up. They have scheduled their hearing sometime in early February. So if we do push the vote on City of Yes Economic Opportunity to February, we will probably miss it. But we are a community board. I'm sure DCB will take our testimony regardless. And it, it still has to go through city council review, then obviously signed by the mayor. So, I mean, certainly we will have a chance to put in our testimony, even if we miss the deadline. And, I think DCP, my understanding, excuse me, is that across the board, all community boards in the city are reviewing this, all 59, and it's been a mixed bag. There are boards that have just outright rejected everything without any discussion. There are boards that have outright accepted everything without discussion. I will say very few have done the brain damage that we've done and spent 6 hours already in committee hearings and gone through all 18 proposals. And we were hoping to have a discussion on the 6 remaining, because that's what we do here at CB7. So, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, but, you know, I think honestly, for things like this, we should go on the record as a group and say what we think and let the chips fall within it.
So then the follow-up is that if we don't, what is registered, if we don't have a vote tonight on that, does DCP see this as us just saying no opinion?
I can answer that. So we can let DCP know that we are requesting additional time until we vote. They can choose to say sure thing, or they can choose to say thanks, but no thanks. But yeah. Diana?
Mine was effectively the same question. Jeremy, they extended the deadline for comment on the economic opportunity, correct?
I believe it's to February 6th.
February 6th, okay. So if we recessed, what's the probability that we could have a meeting before February 6th? Is my question.
I would need to look at the calendar and consult with the board, but that's likely possible. The challenge would be is if we can achieve a quorum for that.
Katie Walsh, community board member. This is a concern that we've had with quorum, and it's especially acute when we have to take votes in committee meetings and votes in community board meetings. So there are reasons why people can't make it, and that happens all the time, and it's the winter, especially right now after a snowstorm. But I think the fact that it doesn't count towards quorum, and then the way it impacts voting is a major issue. And just to flag, like, we did a joint committee meeting with land use for the January 10th meeting, and it was transportation committee members that helped us hit quorum to be able to get that meeting started. But that's a symptom of the larger problem that we're not actually hitting quorum in committee meetings and community board meetings, and we can't function. And we have a responsibility to this community. We have a responsibility to Community Board 7 in the neighborhoods. And I'm really concerned that this is perpetuating issues where we can't convene and do our job. And I want to, call that into focus, just because I mean, we all showed up. It's the first of the new year and we can't even do our jobs because we don't have people here. So I think we all have accountability and responsibility in that context. I don't know what the action and the next step is, but I just want to say that, it's a failure to our district that we can't even do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I hear you. It is a much larger discussion, and also a challenge of the open meetings law as it was written several years ago to allow virtual option. So I hear you loud and clear. Is there any other discussion on the motion on the floor to adjourn or recess? Karen? Or that?
Actually, I want to know what the difference will be in practical terms on either of these choices. So if we adjourn, all the items on this agenda are going to be taken up at the February meeting, in addition to additional items that will also come up in February. And we will have to discuss all of those items and vote on all of those items in February.
That's correct.
If we recess, or what I guess what I'm thinking is, can we discuss the items that are on the agenda, and then when we meet in February, just vote because we've already discussed it?
You mean discuss today or discuss at the recess?
Discuss now. I mean, we're here. Most of us are here. Not for nothing, but I don't want to have to come back in another week. you know, and plus which there are committee meetings and so forth that we're having to attend. So, I mean, is that a possibility? Could we discuss so all the information is out there? And then when we come in February, we can just vote on the items that were discussed tonight. Is that a possibility?
We can discuss tonight. It will not be in the public record. And for those members who are not here, who are not present today and attend the next meeting, my concern is that we will be discussing it again before we vote regardless. So we can discuss it, but that would just mean we would have to discuss it again at the next meeting.
The other thing I wanted to mention really quickly was that I was at the last city public, the design commission, and 3 or 4 times they were asking each other, but what does the community board say? But does the community board say? I don't think it's an option for them to postpone.
To postpone.
Postpone their vote. So I think that it's very important that they hear what our views are before the 6th, you said?
Yeah, I mean, but this is not for the design commission. I believe it's the DCP.
Just to, Karen, just to be clear, design commission review, our commission review, public design commission review, it's on a discretionary action, which means that yes, they have to have community board input before they take a vote, but they have to take a vote at that hearing. I would say, again, this is my opinion, that City of Yes for economic opportunity, remember, well, because we haven't discussed it, we can't discuss it yet, but it's the second of 3 zoning text amendments that are following through. We, Katie, we reviewed zoning for sustainability and passed that perfectly fine. This one has a whole bunch of really, tweaky zoning things, and honestly, I thought most people would fall asleep during my report, but it's not. It's something that is important, but honestly, it's very long, involved. That's why we took 6 hours total to review in committee. The next one, for housing opportunity, I think honestly is the one that really matters to us. So I still think we can provide our input for the record, and I don't think DCP would ignore it. I think they take it under advisement. They may have to stamp it, could not reach quorum, which happens sometimes. But I do want to look forward and say the one that really matters for our district out of a lot of other things, but I do think we got to have a quorum for housing opportunity, or else this district is going to lose out on a lot of things. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you, John. I would like to move on the motion to adjourn a recess, and we'll entertain one more question.
I was just going to say, I want to honor all the work that has been done in committee and the thinking that has been done around this. And, I do have a concern, we also have gotten letters from SBIDC and other, and it to me, it feels like if we can have a voice, more of a voice at this hearing, that matters, right? All this work has gone in. It's not that it won't be considered, it will be after the fact, but from my perspective, if there's a way for us to have a voice at this hearing, that's a big deal. We're one of the biggest industrial districts in the city. This is about economic development. This is about our waterfront. So this is about small businesses in our district. I don't know. I just wanted to share that. And procedurally, one other thing is with the discussion, we're going to have to discuss regardless because it's Robert's rules. So if we were to do that today, we'd have to still do discussion. It might speed things up. It might not. If we went the other way, it would be a double, right? Right. So anyway.
A shortened double meeting. Yeah. Well, the first one would be a shortened meeting. Yes. Jeremy, give me 1 second, Gabino. This Jeremy.
So we haven't started yet, so I can speak. So yes, the deadline for city planning is February 6th. Remember, this is a zoning resolution, not a ULURP, so we are not required to weigh in. We could choose to weigh in. It, after us, it goes to the borough president, who's already had a public hearing, and to city planning. I want to remind you that this is the mayor's proposal, and the city planning commission is appointed by the mayor. So you may want to take that into account. Later on, it goes to the city council, for the city council to vote. So I think it's much more important that our comments get to the city council rather than city planning, who might be, we haven't started yet, I did not say that for the public record. A checkbox for the mayor on this issue.
That was great. So
Thank you, whoever.
yeah, so just to reiterate, the two options, the motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting, in which case at the February meeting, we will start the February. Let me start that again. We will start the January board meeting and then adjourn it right after, and then reconvene the February meeting. The second option is to recess, in which case we will reschedule the January board meeting, ideally prior to February 6th. I would like to vote on that motion. So if you are in favor of adjourning this meeting and reconvening at the February board meeting, please raise your hand.
You want me to raise your hand up? No. Okay.
We can talk after we handle this vote.
Let's do that again.
I would like to handle the vote before we proceed on any other discussion. The vote is called, just bear with me. Okay, hands down.
So I didn't count that.
Let's do this one more time. If you are in favor of adjourning the meeting tonight and reconvening at the February board meeting, please raise your hand. Okay, hands down. If you are in favor of recessing tonight's meeting and rescheduling to a date prior than February 6th, please raise your hand. Actual tie-breaking vote. So we will officially be recessing this meeting until a date prior to February 6th. With that, we can continue any discussion, but I just need to note any discussion tonight is not part of the public record because we do not have a quorum. So I do want to move forward on a couple of other non-quorum related items. I want to invite our elected official reps. And I'm going to call them as I see them. Oh, thank you, Maria. Oh. I do want to invite where? Oh, give me 1 second, Zanera. I do want to invite into the virtual Zoom room Council Member Susan Zhuang, who is joining us virtually.
Council member, we're making you a panelist, and then you'll have the opportunity to unmute yourself.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you everyone from Community Board 7, and I was there in the meeting last time. This time we have 4 meetings in the same time. I only able to join virtually. And I want to say thank you so much, all the board members working hard and hear all the concerns from the community. And right now, I want to hear all the voice about the bill about land use. So, and also I'm here to to listen to you guys. And also my office already open. We have temporary office kind of far into Sunset Park, but we are working on that to get a satellite office in Sunset Park area. And if you have any questions or concerns, I'm going to put my office address, phone number in the chat. Maybe later on you guys can share anything the community needs and want, or just come to our office to talk to me. Feel free to do that. And also, I'm here to listen and serve. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, council member. I would like to ask Zunera to come up. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Zunera Ahmed. I am the district director for Senator Iwan Chu. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. It's great to see you, and I hope the holiday season was joyful and restful for all. I wanted to let you know some of the materials I have in the back. I have our office palm cards where you could find, where our office is located, email, phone number, and in the back, it's the different kind of services that we could assist with. In the back, I also have these fun luck cards. Lunar New Year's coming up on February 10th, such a significant moment for our communities across Southern Brooklyn. So people could take one, give them out. You can hang them up. They're really fun and decorative. And in the spirit of the holiday where you exchange and give goods and nice little items to wish each other good luck, good prosperity, a good year. It is the year of the dragon. So we're embodying that, which is really exciting. I wanted to announce on Tuesday, January 23rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Senator Chu is working with JCH and the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce to have this job fair and employment fair. It will be in Bay Parkway, 7802 Bay Parkway, Brooklyn. So I have flyers in the back. If you know anyone looking for a job, please refer them to this fair. Hopefully it's good resources for them and they could apply for stuff on the spot. I also wanted to let you know, oath will be in our district office on February 29th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you have questions about summonses or hearings, you can book an appointment and you could stop by and speak to a rep, which is great to have that direct, face-to-face assistance. And it's tax season, our favorite-ish. Our office is working to have free tax prep this season from February 4th to April 7th, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. This will be available at 6915 15th Avenue. I'm happy to work with you to book any appointments to make sure you're getting the benefit and you're prepared for tax season. I'm here for the meeting, so let me know if you have any questions, and we'll be hopefully advertising a lot of the Lunar New Year events that are happening next month. So keep updated on how you could plug in and learn about the traditions and have a good time with community. So thank you.
Thank you, Zanera. Edward Cerna, council member of Eliza's office.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Edward Cerna, Chief of Staff for Councilmember Alexa Vilas. Today, I want to start with announcing that the land use principles that I spoke about a few meetings ago has been finally finalized. And so I have copies of that outside, including some of the data that went into informing this report or principles. For those that may not know, the principles is like a living document that helps inform the council member's decision on any land use item that comes before her. This land use principle was informed by work from the community board, constituents and community stakeholders. And so I'll quickly just talk about some of the key takeaways about it. But again, the full report is outside. One is that any development that comes before the city council member that proposes to develop on city-owned land must be 100% affordable with deep AMI levels. As we know, housing is the #1 issue in Sunset Park, and so we don't want to see proposals that are not affordable at the deepest levels for our community. Also, that any development proposal that comes before the council member must include measures to help combat the effects of climate change. any mixed use proposal that comes before the council member that should address community needs such as affordable commercial space, a commitment to local hiring, providing a living wage, and or preserving jobs in the community and growing industrial uses, because we are an industrial working waterfront community as well. So secondly, as we did last year, our office is hosting Grow Brooklyn in our office. Last year, we served hundreds of our community members and provided free tax prep services. We're doing it again this year. It'll kick off on February 5th and it'll run through April 14th, so almost the entirety of the tax season. It'll be Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for folks that can't make it during the week. So I would really ask that board members help get this out, because we know that for these, tax preparing companies out there like H&R Block, they charge an arm and a leg to do these services, and we have the ability to provide this for free. So I left flyers for that also in the back. And then lastly, we do have a new council district line. Many areas that were historically within District Council 38 and CB7 are now not there. So we created a flyer that has a QR code. You can go on it and scan it, and it'll tell you if you are within District 38 or not. Our office is not moving. We'll still be a few blocks down at 4417 4th Avenue. And you could reach us at 718-439-9012. And you could always reach me at ecerna@council.nyc.gov. So thank you so much, and looking forward to 2024.
Thank you, Edward. Francesca Lando from Senator Gennardis's office.
Everyone, good evening and Happy New Year. I have a couple of fun announcements to make. The first is, we have two pieces of legislation that we've been working nonstop on that's dealing with social media and how social media takes advantage of child data. The first one is the Safe for Kids Act, or Stop Addictive Feeds Exploitation, basically to prohibit social media companies from giving kids any notifications in the nighttime hours, since that's something that a lot of teachers have talked about that really messes with kids, and then they don't get sleep, and then they don't have a good school day. But also just to keep all those algorithms from being addictive to children, because they make over $11 billion a year on being addictive to kids. So that's something we've been focusing on this year. You may have seen Senator Gennardis on CBS or Mornings on One. He's been all over the news talking about this lately. If any of you would like to call our office and give us your opinion, please call us anytime. The second bill on that train is the New York Child Data Protection Act, basically banning them from collecting, using, and sharing child data that they get from the internet as well. And he will be talking about this at a CBH talk called Protecting Children on the Internet with the Attorney General Tish James on Wednesday, the 31st at the Center for Brooklyn History at the Brooklyn Public Library. It's going to be from 6 to 7:30. Everyone is welcome so that you can listen to the discussion. It's going to be moderated by Michelle Goldberg from the Times as well. So if you'd like to hear the Senator and the Attorney General talk about child data and how we could reshape the future, please come forward for that. Oh, and then we're hosting the DOB in our office, our district office, which is at 497 Carroll Street. They're going to be in on February 27th from 12 to 3. I'll mention it at the next board meeting because we have a lot of time since then. But if you have any DOB issues, come ask them all the questions you've been dying to ask them. But that's pretty much all for me. Just want to say Happy New Year. Oh, I also, if anybody wanted the Reconnecting Communities letter, I sent it to John as well. But if you need anything about that, let me know.
Microphone, please. Thank you so much.
There's been a lot of conversation about social media pulling down videos of subway surfing, and there was just another death on the F train last week. I think that's like the 9th or 10th death, and these videos go viral. What does the bill do in regards to this kind of social media addiction, where it's become, social media games? Like a few years ago, it was like running and hitting people from behind, and this kind of things that sort of gamify stuff that actually becomes violent or dangerous behavior, but becomes like a TikTok sensation, or are you looking into anything like that as well? Because it seems like right now, the only enforcement is basically just, I guess, individual electeds or people going to the social media companies and being like, you have to pull down these videos. But it seems like a much larger overarching, legislation needs to be, because this is actually something I think is even more concerning about sort of what social media, the type of behavior it perpetuates.
Definitely. Basically, the whole point of, especially for the SAFE Act, is to target the algorithm so that they can't be targeting kids, especially late at night, and it can't be targeting kids to do things that are dangerous, and promoting these dangerous things such as surfing on the subway. Because the whole thing is we don't want it to get struck down. We definitely want this to go all the way. We don't want somebody to strike it down on like a First Amendment basis. So the whole thing is like going after the algorithm so that the algorithm isn't looking after new ways to take advantage of kids, to get their attention, and to keep it unnecessarily, and also for making money on it as well. I could always provide you with more eloquent information than that as well if you would like, but in short. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Manyak from Borough President Antonio Reynoso's office. And after that, Myra Molina.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Manyak Yu. I'm the Director of Policy with the Office of the Brooklyn Borough President. Just want to start off by wishing everybody a Happy New Year. Just another reminder that community board applications are due on February 19th. For those individuals who are new to community boards and are interested in applying, we highly encourage everyone to submit an application online at brooklynbp.nyc.gov. There are also paper applications available, and I'm happy to send along more information on that if you're interested. But we encourage everyone to apply online if possible. The application itself is 45 minutes to an hour. And for those who are current board members who will have their terms expiring, you should be receiving a notification from us soon, if not already. And you will be asked to resubmit another application in order to maintain your board membership. Next, I'd like to let everybody know that we have our upcoming State of the Borough happening on Tuesday, February 13th. This is going to take place in the evening, and additional details will be circulated very soon. This is an opportunity for you to hear a little bit more about some of the Borough President's priorities from the previous year, his accomplishments, and to hear a little bit more about what he hopes to achieve in the upcoming year. Again, we'll be circulating information very soon once all details are out. And finally, want to encourage everyone to review our comprehensive plan, which we released earlier last year. This plan has a lot of fantastic information on existing conditions as it relates to public health, and a number of really wonderful recommendations that can be utilized by the community board as well. So this is again available on our website. Again, wishing everybody a Happy New Year, and we look forward to spreading love the Brooklyn way. Thank you.
Myra Molina from Congress Member Dan Goldman's office.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Myra Molina from Congressmember Dan Goldman's office. Just a quick reminder, our office is open to constituents. So if anyone wants to stop by, it would be great. We're here to provide casework. It's only open by appointment. So if you'd like to call ahead, we can set up an appointment to create an appointment for a constituent and a caseworker or the appropriate staff member to talk on any issue. Also, a few legislative updates are that the Congressmember and other members have been introducing the Federal Firearm Licensee Act to modernize and strengthen the federal requirements for anyone who facilitates gun sales, including gun shops, gun shows, and websites. This would update the sections in the U.S. Code that have not been updated for the past 30 years. He's also introducing or co-introducing the Default Proceed Sale Transparency Act to address the loophole which allows some gun sales to be completed without an FBI background check. The congressman and other congress members have been requesting $1.6 billion for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Department to provide more funding for the low-income home energy assistance program, which will essentially help keep families safe and warm by providing financial assistance to reduce the costs associated with home energy bills and reducing the health risks that come with inadequate home heating. At last, he's been recently recognized for his legislative role to raise and move the forefront issues that are important for children, such as bypassing or introducing the bill, the Immigration Court Efficiency Children's Court Act, which would create a immigration court docket for minors whose legal cases are more sensitive and complex and need more representation. If you have any questions, I'm here to talk, and there's been flyers at the outside of the office that can provide you more information. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Myra. And we have a few joining virtually. Hercules Reed for the Mayor's Community Action Unit.
Hercules, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, good night, everyone. My name is Hercules Reed, and I don't know how to turn my camera on in this mode, but I am the Brooklyn North Borough Director for Community Affairs for the Mayor's Office. I am here on behalf of my colleague, which you all may know very well, Anastasia. She couldn't make it, but we wanted to make sure I was here to hear what was going on and report back. Just a couple quick things that we have been doing, focusing on public safety. The mayor has been focusing on making sure we have the funding we need to keep our streets clean, our parks, and again, to continue fighting the rats that we are dealing with around our city. We are also fighting against our illegal smoke shops. Many of us in the community have been expressing concern about that, and what recently we've been working with our colleagues to accomplish is going after the landlords where these shops are now operating, and basically, you know, leaving the onus on the landlord that if you don't close the shop down immediately, you will lose your building. And we know that it's working because actually there was, as you know, the community boards are seeing these applications, and in another community board, there was someone who ended up signing up to become a legal shop because the landlord received the letter and told them to shut it all down. So we know that it's not, you know, perfect yet. We're still doing what we can to enhance that space, but it is progress. We are also fighting to ensure our streets are safer. Towards the end of last year, the mayor made an initiative to daylight, I think, 1,000 more intersections throughout the city. Daylighting is just making sure that there is better visibility for our drivers and our pedestrians. We've had tons of accidents in our city because folks could not see around the corner, whether it was the driver or the pedestrian, and this is an effort to make our city safer. Also, again, looking to fight combat retail theft, which is another thing that was on the rise last year. Can't do it alone at the city level, so we are working with our federal, state partners and other local stakeholders to create an upstream program to provide solutions for our stores. So we have a ton of stuff. The mayor's continuing to do town halls around the city to get real up close and personal with the issues, and hopefully we get to see you all soon. Other than that, I hope you all have a great new year, and stay blessed and continue the great work that you guys do here at CB7. Thank you.
Thank you, Hercules. We do have a question from a board member.
Sure.
Hey, my name is Jerry. I'm the Vice Chair of Public Safety. I'm glad that you mentioned about public safety. Is the mayor planning to do anything regarding illegal vehicle parking at fire hydrants overnights? We are having a lot of those type of issues in Sunset Park area. people will leave the vehicle with a police vest overnight and they don't get ticketed, they don't get towed. And this is a safety concern. If there's a fire around the area, it might delay putting out the fire. So can you relate this back to the mayor? So he might be thinking about
Yes.
this problem?
Yes, no, absolutely. I think that's a very valid point. And even in my own neighborhood in East Flatbush, where I live, it happens. And it's happening all over the city. I think a lot of it got out of control during the pandemic. And I know that now they need to find a way to peel that back and enforce that because, you know, it's a safety hazard, like you're saying, quality of life issues. We're having a lot of fires, unfortunately. And the last thing we want is to slow down our FD&Y from saving somebody's life or their property. So I will definitely bring that up and or see if there's a plan for it already. And we will be sure to get that back to you.
Thank you. And we have one more question from Jeremy Kaplan.
I'm curious about the mayor's office asking about landlords taking over their building. What jurisdiction does the mayor have to take over a building? Because I think what's interesting is we're applying that to illegal weed shops, but we also have tens of thousands of unregistered rent stabilized apartments that are being illegally rented above market. We don't hear the mayor criticizing those landlords or talking about taking buildings away from landlords who are not registering rent stabilized units, which are some of the most important affordable housing that we have. This is tens of thousands of units. So I'm curious why the mayor is putting his foot down about these weed shops, but not landlords who are deregulating rent stabilized apartments or not registering them.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not a legal expert, so just understand that anything I'm saying is based on my general information and not legal language. But when it comes to landlords and the amount of rent that they can charge, that has something to do with the mayor, but it also has everything to do with the state and the federal level and what they set. We operate within that. And so if, for instance, you have the rent guidelines board as well that sets rent, which yes, he has a seat on, but those are parameters, right? Like it as a business owner, they can't tell you how much money to make, right? But they can tell you what are the parameters that you can operate your business. And so this is where the weed shop conversation, the cannabis shops illegally come into the conversation because what they're doing is actually illegal as at the federal level, at the state level, and the city level. And so they're not just doing it. The mayor doesn't have the right to do this on his own, to what you're saying, right? He has to work with his actual partners at the city and state and federal level to have the ability to actually, and they don't just take away these landlords' home. It's actually a very large fine that they have to pay that would force some landlords to have to give up their home because they may not be able to afford the fine. So if I quoted that we're kicking people out of their homes or landlords out of their buildings, that's not exactly what's happening. It's more of a fine. And that fine is within the authority of the city to do that. As far as rent,
So you could do that to the same landlords who are not registering rent stabilized apartments, correct?
I don't want to say yes or no because I don't actually know. I'd have to look into that and get back to you. I don't think it's the same.
It is a state law. There's a new state law about registering, but the mayor could also do more for enforcement.
Okay.
Maria, 1 second. Hercules, we appreciate you, that response. And I would encourage you to take this feedback back to the mayor's office and encourage other ways that this policy of fining can be implemented across other issues that's affecting the city.
Thank you so much. I will definitely do that.
Thank you. John Watkins from DA Gonzalez's office.
John, you can unmute yourself.
Good. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great, great. Good evening, everyone. John Watkins from the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Eric Gonzalez. As always, sends his well wishes and my personal well wishes to all in attendance and also to those who are on virtual tonight. First of all, the DA wrapped up last year with a very robust year. A lot of things that were accomplished in terms of reduction in several metrics of crime. Also, just really looking to enhance the outreach of the office to its handling of community matters of all types, especially those regarding our citizens that are impacted by repetitive crimes that are occurring in some of these locations and retail businesses. The DA is working with our partners at the NYPD, especially in downtown Brooklyn, like the Fulton Mall area, where the NYPD has been tasked to target those who are repeat offenders coming into businesses and being able to prevent them from creating more havoc, especially with shoplifting. So that's something that the DA is very focused on. The other things are that have been happening with throughout the year. A lot of efforts for helping communities that have been confronted with immigration matters. Many communities are assisting our new immigrants into the city, all parts of the city, with various outreach services. The DA's office has been a part of that. In many instances, many of the staff have volunteered at churches and other community-based organizations to assist our immigrant community that's coming in and seeking services. So he's very aware of that need to provide the adequate services that can help the transition of this distressed population. One of the other things I like to mention also is that the office has multiple, I call it a full service slate of things that we do that many people really don't realize. And I always direct folks to our website, brooklyndA.org. Elder abuse is on the rise. We saw that with COVID, where folks were sort of put in, sort of sequestered, with some of their elderly for many weeks at a time, and some of those issues, or there were some abusive instances that were occurring. Our office has a team that's designated towards assisting in this matter, so people have information about that they may know of about our elders being abused. You can please let us know. We have on our website our Action Center phone that people can call and report those instances. The other things that the DA definitely is very happy about is some of the efforts that have gone, especially back to like National Night Out, multiple sort of enrichment community things such as Hispanic Heritage. That was, I think, in September. We had Diwali. There are a number of things coming up in February, Black History Month, and then Women's History Month in March, I believe. So that's just a few of the things that the office has been doing and we want the public to know about. Please go to our website, brooklyndA.org. You can click on the news or press release tab, and there you will be able to see all of the many different things that the office is doing, especially the DA and his ADA team members. There have been some recent occurrences that have occurred in the news lately. There was an incident of a good Samaritan trying to intercept sort of an argument on a train. That turned out to be very unfortunate with a homicide. Please know that the DA and his team are very much aware of these things that we read about in the news each and every day. They know about it before it hits the press, and they are on top of it, especially those things that are occurring in Brooklyn. And so the number one, aside from everything else the DA's office does, the number one priority for the DA and his team is the protection of the citizens of Brooklyn and New York City. So that is the tip-top priority. that's all I have to say for right now. I've been rambling a little bit because there's so much going on and so much that's coming up in the next few weeks, and that I will definitely report on and advise you all of so that you can be aware of it. And I'll send the notices to the CB7 office. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thank you, John.
Thank
Excuse me. I would like to ask now if there are any members of the public who wish to speak before the board. Maria Roca.
I was listening to the back and forth on the City of Yes conversation or no conversation or whatever, and I urge everyone to read as much as you can. There is a lot that is not being talked about for the commercial prong of the three prongs having to do with the City of Yes, which will impact Sunset Park, will impact every neighborhood very negatively as to what can be done in apartments, what kind of commerce can be done without any environmental review. Things that are toxic that you can have your next door neighbor doing upstairs, downstairs, filming. There is so much and it's overwhelming. And a lot of people are sort of shocked by the hundreds of pages that these documents are. I am part of a working group that has been able, I don't have the money, but some of the people in the working group have been able to put money forth to hire lawyers and hire land use experts for this and recommendations just, but more bringing attention to what's between the lines, to the language that is being used. I'm happy to share that information. You can send me an email to friendsofsunsetpark@yahoo.com, and I cannot share where it's coming from. I mean the people, but I have their blessing to share the analysis that is going on, just to wake up. And you can do your own. It is overwhelming. We're talking hundreds of pages. This is only on the commercial prong, which is what's being discussed now. The housing is yet to come. But if the commercial gets passed as it is written or anywhere near as it's being proposed, it will definitely impact the housing aspect of all of this. And each of our lives, one way or another, will be negatively impacted because it is about, as it is called, the City of Yes. The City of Yes, do whatever the hell you want. And no one, because they're taking out all the enforcement. They're taking out all the no's. Where do you go when you have a problem? All of that is, oh no, you're allowed, and the language is very hazy. So please, you are going to be personally involved, your family, your children, the next generation, and people who may not understand and who may not have the advantage of having the ability to read and understand are going to be, but those are your neighbors. And so please do the work for you and do it for your next door neighbor who might not be able to have the time or the language capacity to, because of English or whatever, just because it's very complicated language, as everyone here knows, land use language.
Thank you, Maria. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Go ahead.
Natalie Oliveris, you can unmute yourself.
Hello? You guys hear
Hi.
me?
Yes,
Hi,
we
yes.
can. You have
Hi,
3
good
minutes.
evening. My name is Natalie. I am part of the Heart Share St. Vincent's organization. We're part of a new program in the Sunset Park community. We're helping with the unaccompanied minors that have just crossed the border. So I just wanted to kind of make an announcement to let the community know that we are searching for Spanish-speaking foster parents to help us take care of these kids while we try and reunite them with family members. We do provide with daily stipends and trainings and stuff like that. So if people are interested, our offices are in 4th Ave, right there, and we can attach some flyers to the chat.
Thank you. If you could also share those flyers with the board.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
And thank you. With that, have a good night, everyone, and stay tuned for a continuation.